Hey, Coach, Ken Kreitzer, CamVets Media. How do you feel just a few days before your first game at Army running the offense?
Oh, I'm excited. It's football season. It's time to go and compete. And I know our guys are working their butts off and they're ready to go. They're ready to go hit. Somebody besides their own team. So just excited for that opportunity and ready to go to compete.
How does this team, now that you're a few days from your first game, how does it compare to what you expected, what you were thinking about the team 6 months ago when you first arrived at Army?
Um, I really didn't come in with any just notions of what it was going to be. I think you've been around coaching long enough, every year is different. Even every team at the same school is different. It's a tough, hard-nosed group of guys, and they continue to just work their butts off and improve. And that's the biggest thing is, we're not a finished product yet. We're just got to keep improving every single day. But these guys are working hard.
Thanks, Coach.
Sal, I think you're up next.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Great, great. Can you talk about the offensive line and how what you've seen from them in the preseason and leading up to this game, just in the way they picked up the offense and how they're, where they stand right now?
Yeah, I think they're doing a pretty good job. We've gotten a little continuity going there. That's always the big thing. In spring, we were trying to get everybody kind of reps at various spots, see who could snap, who could do this, kind of cross-train a few guys. And then now as we've gotten into camp, we've kind of settled guys into, hey, here's your primary position, here's your secondary position. And I think those guys are really starting to gel and figure it out, and then we also just kind of challenge them to not think so much and just play, and again, take their weight room mentality when they just get in there and crush it, to continue to take that to the field and just, go the right direction, but be violent when they get there. So they're getting better every day, and the nice part going against our defense is Coach Woody's got a bunch of good stuff to see every day. So it's made those guys have to communicate and have to see various looks. And so I think it has definitely helped us, and they're continually getting better. And obviously we're not a finished product yet, but they keep improving. So that's been fun to watch.
What has Bryson worked on a lot in the preseason? How do you think he's ready for that first career start?
Yeah, he's I think when he came into camp, he was pressing a little bit and wanted to be. I think sometimes, when he went in as a backup last year, it was, hey, let me just go in and have fun and I can make splash plays and I don't have to worry about, and now it's just like not every play is a big play, and that's okay. Sometimes throwing the football right play, sometimes ducking it and running it is the right play. So early, I think he was pressing. And then at some point, it just kind of clicked with him and he relaxed and has just been playing really good football. And obviously we'll try to play to some of his strengths and, not ask him to do stuff that he's not great at. But I think he's finally just being consistent. That's the biggest thing I think you want in a quarterback is just give me consistency. I can get you into stuff that's going to help you out, but I need you to just be consistent. So, and I think he's doing a really good job of that.
Hey, Coach Thatcher, Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com. To kind of follow up on that with Bryson, since he's been named the starter, have you kind of noticed a little bit of the pressure come off and kind of his confidence grow a little bit since then?
I think even before he was named the starter, he started to feel that confidence. And it's one of those things where it's just continuing. It's not the type of kid like, oh, now I'm the starter, now I got to be different. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing about him. He's a kid that's going to come in and just work his butt off every day. I mean, he practices so hard, which I think is great to have a quarterback that practices, at the speed he does. And so I don't think he's tried to put any extra. I know he's probably pumped up to be that guy, because I know that's obviously everybody's goal. But he's hasn't really changed him. He's continued to just do what he does, which I think is important.
And as a guy who's been around a number of good athletic quarterbacks in your career, Coach Thatcher, what about Bryson's game do you really like that you think gives you guys a good chance to put a lot of points up on Saturday night?
He's tough, and I think your best quarterbacks that I've been around, they've come in all different shapes and sizes, but just guys that are tough, and when a game gets tough, they're not going to crumble. They're 4th and 1, they're going to fight for that last yard, and that's what he is. He is this place the last of the hard. That's the type of kid he is. And he's quicker probably than you realize. You look at him and, hey, he's kind of a bigger guy, but there's times when he makes his decision and goes, like, he's faster than you think, and I'm excited to see him in game action, because obviously as a quarterback, you don't want those guys taking very many hits in practice. In the couple live reps we did get him, he broke some tackles, and that's what I think is when he gets in the game and is fully live and is able to, use kind of his abilities. I think it's going to be fun to see exactly how he looks in that capacity.
And then my final question, Drew, we spoke with, had a chance to speak with Brady Small just a few minutes ago, and I've been following Army football for a long time. Can't remember the last time Army started a freshman center in their opening game. What about Brady earned him that important spot in your offensive line?
I mean, he's just a tough sucker. It's funny. He's kind of got like that little baby face look to him. If you saw him, he doesn't look like anything special. And then you see him play, and I mean, he plays with a purpose. And again, he's physical. He snaps well. We had a lot of growing pains early. But we kind of talked as a staff, like, hey, his ceiling's so high, like, let's get those pains out now so that he's ready to roll. And again, he's had that opportunity going against Coach Woody's defense it's not like he's just lining up in a static front every day. I mean, he's got to see a ton of different stuff, which makes him communicate. And, I think that's going to make it better for game day. And I know he's excited to play. He loves football.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Drew, Ken McMillan from the Times-Herald Record. Hey, Drew, we were talking earlier in the 1 p.m. presser about how much experience is back on the offensive side of the ball. But when you look at it, Bryson's the new guy in that huddle. So you got a bunch of guys who are very familiar with one another, and then you've got Bryson. How's he doing as far as establishing his leadership there?
Oh, he's doing great. It's one of those things, I think, people fail to, it's not like he just came out of nowhere. Like, he was a guy that traveled last year. He's a guy that saw some game reps. He's been here the whole time. He's worked out with these guys. He's been a great leader in the weight room. So I don't think anybody is surprised or trying to figure out who Bryson is. Like, they know who he is and they know what he's about. And so they know when he steps in that huddle, he's ready to roll, and he's about business, and they're ready to follow him.
So obviously he's been working with these guys for a while, but how important are the game reps for him to establish, again, his identity in the huddle?
Yeah, I think it's important, to have game reps. And that's the nice part about him. Again, he hasn't played a ton, but he's been in games. He's made plays. He scored touchdowns. He knows what that speed feels like. So it's not going to be a complete shock. He'll have to get used to playing the full game, which is different, but he'll be ready to roll.
Yeah. You guys were missing some players in recent scrimmages and stuff. Basically, big picture, how is the injury front? How's the line coming along? Do you feel like you have sufficient depth?
Yeah, I think we're making progress on depth. Again, we've got, there's still a few guys out, but the thing we like here is we've really tried to develop, especially in spring. I mean, we were giving every single person a ton of reps, and it's one of those things that looks ugly in spring at times. But you get to this point, and some of those guys, those reps prove valuable, where now they're the backup and they've had a bunch of banked reps. And so the second time through for them, they're better than where they would have been if they hadn't had those reps. So that O-line's really coming along. Again, we're really trying to still develop the ones, but develop those twos just as much. And they're making the most of every rep. I think every time they just come out and they execute this system, they start to feel more and more comfortable with it.
Drew, you appear to be a very confident guy, but honestly, going into this, what's your mood? What's your emotion putting your offense to the test for the first time?
Oh, it's exciting. I mean, it's football. You love to compete. You know, it's not like this is the first place I've ever been around where you have a first game. You know, it's football. And you just want to go out and compete and be the absolute best you can be. And I know our guys are going to leave it all out there. And I think it'll be fun to watch those guys just go and compete and finally have some fun. You know, so just excited for it. It's a great opportunity for me and a great opportunity for our team.
Last thing, Drew. As far as this new offense goes, did you develop this on your own, or did you pattern it after somebody or some team?
So when I got to Kearney, so Coach Lynn had been at Kearney for 2 years before I got there. So he had some of these pieces in place. And then when I came in, we revamped some parts and kept some parts of that. And then even here, we've added some stuff and taken out some stuff. I think as you go, you're constantly just trying to revamp and improve and find what works. And, you know, there's some stuff that we did at my last place that we weren't great at here, so we're not doing it as much. And there's some stuff we're better at here that we weren't at the last place. You know, so I think it's one of those things, your offense is always constantly growing.
How unique is this offense in the world of college football?
I don't know. I guess it'll be somewhat unique. But just in my head, like football's football. It all looks different, but a lot of different systems all are trying to do the same thing. You know, you're trying to attack various people and put people in conflict and all that. You know, I don't know if that answers the question, but
That's fine. Thank you, Drew.
Coach, just ask you to comment on the Louisiana-Monroe defense. They lost a couple linebackers to the transfer portal, but what do you see as strengths in their defense?
what was that? It cut out right at the.
I'm sorry. Just tell us about the Louisiana-Monroe defense. What do you see as strengths in their defense, challenges?
They're going to be really, really athletic. I know that's one of the things they talked about is they wanted to get faster on defense, and they've got a bunch of transfers coming in there. And so I know they're going to be super athletic, really good defensive coordinator, you know, that knows how to attack people. But, you know, again, we'll go attack our way and they'll attack their way, and we'll kind of see how that all shakes out. But I mean, it's a good defense, and you know, it'll definitely be a test. There's no doubt.
Final question: when you designed the offense, did you ever think you'd have two big fullbacks like Jacoby Buchanan and Tyson Riley in your offense?
Well, it's actually kind of funny. I've always wanted. At my last school, we never had a really big back. We had one guy that was decent size, but it was one of those things I was always hoping to get, just because, I mean, again, a guy like Jacoby, 260 going downhill. I mean, it doesn't matter what offense you're in. That big a dude going downhill is hard to stop. So it's kind of fun to have those guys. And again, wherever you're at, you're just trying to find really good football players. And Tyson and Jacoby are both really good football players. So you're just happy to have those guys on your side.